Hey everyone, welcome to this lesson. So in this one, we're going to do a little fun practice to use all the skills that we've learned so far and put them to use and create a really nice code that essentially is going to give us the bill for a bakery. So it's a really simple practice, but again, shouldn't be anything complicated, but I just want you to put all these skills that you've been learning so far to use. As I said, it's really, really important to put them to use because that's how you learn programming. And at the same time, if and else statements can be really confusing. So I want you to make sure that you're proficient with it before we move on to the next section. So what is this and what is the point of this practice? So in this practice, we have a bill generator app essentially that asks a few questions and based on your answers it's going to spit out a bill at the end. And these questions, they have different options. You know, for example, we got a bakery and then we got the size of the cake, which is small, medium, large, and then you got extra chocolate, which is, you know, it's a yes or no option, and then do you want to add candles, yes and no option, and each one of them have a different price. So the small is going to cost 10 bucks, the medium is going to cost 20, and large is going to cost 25, and the chocolate add-on is going to cost 4 bucks, and candle add-on is going to it's going to cost 6 bucks. I just had to fix that. So these are the basics. So in order to actually make this, you need to use if and else statements and just add the amount. Okay. Now, one thing I want to mention is that I recommend that you want to start with a $0 amount. Okay. So you want to define a variable and start with $0 and add the numbers as you go down through the order. So that's something I recommend doing. But again, just do your own thing. One of the things you want to remember is that programming is just different. Everybody has a different style. So, you could be programming in a different way that I do. And that's why, it's basically like the way people speak, right? I always compare programming to a real language. People speak in different ways, and that's pretty much the same in programming. There are a lot of different ways to do the same thing. So I want you to take your time to actually do this. The files are in the resources section, so you can access the practice file, and also there's a complete file. I strongly recommend just taking some time to actually make this happen. Try to think about it and try to actually create this code for yourself and see how it goes before you actually watch me do it. All right, so I just want to give you a second and then I'll start writing this. Okay, so hopefully you tried to actually write the code by yourself. And if you made some errors, if you made some mistakes, now you're going to be able to actually see a why or how. And if you didn't try, it's completely fine. Just make sure you practice after you watch the video. It's really, really important to put them to use. So I'm going to define a variable and call it amount. Okay. So my thinking with this is that we're going to start with the $0 amount. So that's going to be the bill, right? $0. So the first thing I'm going to say is ask the type. So we got 3 variables: type, add chocolate, and add candles. So I'm gonna say if type equals, and again remember we were using double equal because if you remember the operators I explained in the few videos back, this equal is very different from this equal. All right, just keep that in mind. So it's going to be double equal. So if it's an S, that means it's a small amount is going to be. Now here's one of the things. Another thing I like to talk about is the way you actually add these values. So there are 2 ways for you to actually add this. So you can say amount equals amount plus plus 10. So essentially you took the original value and added 10 to it. So that's one of the common ways to do it. But another way for you to actually do this is actually you can use an operator. So instead of just like typing this down, amount equals amount plus 10, what you can do is you can say amount equals or plus equals 10. So that's pretty much exactly the same as the previous code. Essentially does the same thing, it just makes it shorter and cleaner, right? We use the operator, we say take the original amount and add 10 to it. Very simple. All right, so the next one, we're going to use an elif statement. All right, so I'm going to say elif type, and we're getting another value, right? I'm going to say medium, and if that's the case, the medium, we're going to add amount. We're going to say amount plus equals 20. So again, that's the price of the $20 medium size, right? And then else, and I can use elif as well. Again, I can just continue, and this is where I said everybody has a different style of programming, right? So I could use elif like this, and just continue and say type equals, like, you know, large and all that. But the reason I'm gonna use else is because, like, let me just write it down here. The reason I want to use else is if they enter something that is not small or medium, okay, we're going to just assume it's the maximum amount, it's the largest they want. So if I run this code, basically what's going to happen is that it's going to ask for the values, and if someone is going to have a small, it's going to be $10. If someone's going to have a medium, it's going to be 20, and anything else, for example, if they enter large or anything else, it's going to be 25. So essentially we're overcharging them if they enter anything that is not in the options. All right, so but again, it's just like you could use it, you could do this in many different ways. Just keep that in mind. There is really no right or wrong way, at least as long as the program runs. But you know, it's just everybody has a different way of doing things in programming, so just keep that in mind. You could do another if statement if you want. It's just, again, it's just everybody has a different style. So that's that. You know, that's our type value. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add the chocolate, right? So we're gonna say if add chocolate, or there you go, chocolate equals y, so that's yes, right? We're gonna say, and here's, I'm gonna use another thing. I'm gonna actually use an if statement inside an if statement. It's just like, again, we're just gonna use a lot of different ways of like strategies when it comes to if statements that we've talked about so far. So we're using if inside an if type equals small, we're going to say amount equals or plus 2, and else is going to be amount plus equals 4. So my thinking with this is that, so if they want to add a chocolate, okay, I could immediately just add, you know, $4. But instead of doing that, I want to be more fair. I'm gonna say if they want chocolate on it, and if their cake is small, instead of $4, I'm gonna charge them $2. But anything else, for example, medium, large, anything like that, I'm gonna charge them $4 for the extra chocolate on the cake. So this is pretty much, you know, again, you could use different options and different things, and just get really creative with your if and else statements. And as always, you can always ask me questions. So next one, we're gonna add the final if. I'm just gonna like do it on the same line as this. This is essentially close to the gutter, and this means that, again, it's the first level if, right? So if add candles, okay, equals y, we're gonna say amount plus equals 6. All right, so that should be good, right? So we got $6 for the candles, and that's it. So now we're just gonna print. I'm going to do an if statement and say your final bill is amount. Here we go. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's actually run our code and see if it works. Welcome to our bakery. What size of cake do you want? I'm just gonna say medium. Do you want extra chocolate? Yes. And do you want to add candles? Yes. So one of the things, and your final bill is $30. One of the things that we're going to talk about later on as well in this section is actually how to deal with upper letter and lower letters. For example, right now in this program, if you actually for example, enter S, it's not going to recognize this lowercase s as the S, right? So that's a problem, and we got to fix that. And that's something I will actually talk about later on. But like if I enter S, it's going to assume it's a large pizza, because again, this lowercase letter s is not same as the uppercase, so it's case sensitive, right? So we're just gonna say, again, if I say no, and if I do all lower letters, it's gonna get really confused. I see we got 25 bucks for something that shouldn't cost 25 bucks. So that is the idea, and that's something we're gonna talk about later on. But this is pretty much it, guys. This is how you actually do this practice. Again, the complete version is going to be in the resources section. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'll see you in the next one.